economics. Previously was the head of Department of Economics at Ahmadu Bello University and member of the Monetary Policy Committee at the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, will speak on the topic.
Introduction at the platform following his widely shared presentation at the last platform. He is His Excellency, the former governor of Anambra State. Before his entrance into politics, he was notably the chairman of Fidelity Bank and has also held executive positions in Chams Nigeria, Card Center, Future View Securities, amongst a few. While serving as governor, he was chairman, Board of Securities and Exchange Commission, and also special advisor to the President on Finance. Mr. Peter Obi is a graduate of the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, and has also pursued academic programs in various international institutions, including Harvard Business School, Lagos Business School, Kellogg School of Management, London School of Economics, Oxford, and Cambridge universities. He's happily married with 2 children. Today, he will be speaking on the Nigerian economy and taking questions thereafter. Please join me as we welcome Mr. Peter Obi.
I hope the mic is working. Okay, it's working very well. You know, for those of us who are not ICT compliant, when they put this on you, let me start by most sincerely thanking Pastor Poju and his team for inviting me here for the second time after our October 1st interaction. I thank my dear sister, the Minister of Finance. I know how tough it is to be Minister of Finance at this period in Nigeria. I thank you for being here and being part of this. The Vice President hasn't arrived, but I most sincerely appreciate and thank our very dear Vice President, His Excellency, Professor Yemi Osibanjo, for the way and manner he has conducted himself in office. Our dear Vice President has shown that this country is not lacking of men and women who can show purposeful leadership and lead from the front and walk their talk. We remain prayerful for them as we pray for our own president. Today is 1st May, so I must appreciate and thank all the hard-working Nigerian workers who are trying to help us to build a better country. The organizers have asked me to speak on Nigerian economy. While I cannot claim to be professor of economics, and most people who are speaking today are professionals, I will speak as a trader. Because all of you know that that is my background. I came from the market. Any other thing you're hearing, whether in the bank or in government or in this, was by chance. My original business is trading from Onitsha market to Balogu market to anything. And that is where I remain. That is why people ask me today, where do you live? I say, I live in Onitsha. I live beside the main market. That's the only place I have a house. But I feel I've gathered a sufficient experience both in the market and subsequently in government and other areas to be able to make one or two contributions on Nigerian economy. Because of restriction in time, I'm going to be just making a few points. One on issue of borrowing, savings, education, and employment. I believe other speakers have covered so many other areas and everything. In this country, we seem to be fixated on pursuing things that are far from us instead of just working on things that are near us. We seem to always go for the exotic instead of just... I know how hard it is for the minister. They are trying to borrow out of... They don't have any saving. My only worry is not just the federal government, but state governments and everything, is that what are we borrowing for? That is my only worry. What are we borrowing for? Have we made enough studies, feasibility studies, economic impact and all those things to know that what we are borrowing for is needful or something we can do without? Because some of the things I believe we can do without it, and I show it. So today, our debt service to revenue is almost 60% across the line of states and everything, even excluding other contractual obligations, especially in the state level, and people are still borrowing. My question is, what are we borrowing for? And I'll give an example with the issue of airports. We had borrowed to build new terminals in the airport. Maybe when we negotiated the loan, it was good. But as a businessman, even if you negotiate a loan yesterday to borrow it and you find out that things are not working, you renegotiate it. We've borrowed to build 4 new airport terminals across the country. My question is, are they viable? Would they pay themselves back? We all know that 80% of our traffic comes from Lagos Airport today. And I say with every sense of sincerity, the airport we have in Lagos is one of the biggest airports in Africa today. All we need is to fix that one to be functional first. We don't need to build new terminal because that one is not working. Borrowing to do new one, we can make that one in at least the regional hub. And it will work. But if you go there today, he's the only airport I know that if you want to use the toilet, somebody will ask you, do you want tissue? What are you going there to do? To take picture? What does you think you're going there to do? To go and take picture? It doesn't work. You go there, you find out the facilities are not working. In the passenger, in the main lounge where everybody moves, you know the big men move from VIP. If you go to the VIP lounge of our airport here, they have 2 toilets. In the where all of us move from, 2. So you will always see queue. People queuing. You thought they are boarding the flight. They are just waiting to just wait. That's what they are queuing. We can make it functional first. Go to Ghana. Go to Togo. Go to everywhere. It's just Rwanda. It's just one small building, but it's functional and working. So building to do new terminal for me, why don't you look at the approach of the airport? These are things we need to fix. They're basic. And we're borrowing. You go to the States, it's the same thing. People are borrowing to do super highway. Super highway to where? Let's see the small road. Super highway to where? When we are saying that we don't have we don't have small rural roads to reach to their village. That's what we need. If we can get that, that is enough. For the meantime, but they are borrowing. They are borrowing to do flyover. When the main road is not good, why are you doing the flyover? Where are we flying to? We want the road to be good. But they are borrowing to do flyover. That is what you see in this country. I have somebody today that is being owed, and his business is about to collapse. When I talk about government debts and then borrowing, because he did what? He did Christmas decoration. How can a government be doing Christmas decoration when there's no rice on people's table? So these are things when we are talking about borrowing, I question borrowing and say, I'm happy the minister is here because the minister is not only signing for the borrowing of the federal government, he's doing the same thing. He don't know, before the state can borrow money, she approves. So minister, when they come and tell you they want to borrow money, please tell them we don't need super highway. We just need normal road. For the meantime, we'll do with it. That is my question. I'm worried about the level of borrowing. It is not good. The next thing I was going to talk about is the issue of savings. No country. The reason why we're talking about massive borrowing today is because we didn't save yesterday. And cost of governance, which I'm sure I will make a mention later. Our constitution, I listened to one of the prophets talk about the Epicurean life. Our politics and lifestyle have been built on a Epicurean life. Let's take care of today for tomorrow will take care of itself. That is why our constitution, 162 section of our constitution, says that we shall maintain a federation account through all which monies will be paid into and shared to the 3 tiers of government, state, federal, and local government, without any remaining. even in motor park, they keep some change for tomorrow. But everything here is shared. Because of it, there was no saving. No nation can survive without saving for tomorrow. Never. And that is the crisis we face today. So I'm appealing that that constitution be changed. Let the present government appeal. We have people in National Assembly. Let them, they can fast track this one and change it and include saving. I know that we have today, people will say we have the Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority Act. That one only allows, to tell you how Nigeria is, it only allows for saving of excess. Imagine excess in Nigeria. They will never get excess because they have to take everything. So I thank the former ministers, Aganga, Iwala, for actually working hard to establish that one and putting in the initial 1 billion. And I thank you, Honorable Minister, for continuing that direction because we now have 2.5 billion. Thank you very much. However, I believe that while we are waiting for the Constitution to be amended, for us to have a compulsory saving, we can start today. Honorable Minister and all of us, there's some money today that is about being distributed, which we call refunds and everything. And I believe that if we make a resolution as a country, we can start that. We now have, I read it in the paper every day, 6.9 billion excess crude deduction, out of which 1,250 million, which is about 380 billion, had already been shared. And I know that there's an approval, which I'm sure the minister is dealing with now, to share another 1 billion, 380 billion has been shared. Okay, minister, I said no approval, but let me say, the people who will get it, 1 minute, people who will get it, 1 minute, those who will get it have put it in their mind. So let me deal with it. There is a, let me say, we have, let me say, there's an intention to share $1 billion, $650 million, which is about 500 billion, because that is the figures I'm seeing in the newspaper. But since that is intention, but assuming that is also removed from the 6.9 billion, which is what I'm reading, we are left with 4 billion. NNPC, MPDC have just agreed to an unremitted $21.8 billion. And ahead, they have given a schedule in which they can pay that back. That is what I heard. That's what I read in the newspaper. I'm only working with the newspaper. I'm sure the minister is here, so he will clarify it. So that is what they said. I also read that the federal government of Nigeria, they said this year they are going to sell 10 NIPP projects, the power generating plant. If I recall, when I was in government at 2013, the reserve price for it was about $5.9 billion. So we're looking at about $6 billion. My humble and appeal to government of today and Nigerians is that the remaining $4 billion on shared deduction, the one they have not earmarked for deduction, the NNPC 21.8 billion, and the 6 billion from sale of our listing is 31.8 billion. If we resolve today as a country that we're not going to share this, consider that all we shared in the past have not been, nobody have seen it. Nobody know where it went to. That's what we are seeing in people's houses now and all over the place. So let's talk about this one. Let's resolve now. Let's resolve as a people. Let's then resolve that this 31.8 billion, we are not going to share it. We are going to save it. If we save this at about 2.5 billion starting from 2018, by 2030, that's when it will stop. Even the year they are going to evaluate us on SDG, at 7% income, by then we would have saved $51 billion. 2013 is just by the corner. Consider we have 2.5 billion already in that account. The total will be about 55 billion by the year 2030. If you look at our foreign reserve today, our foreign reserve today is $30 billion. Again, I thank the present government because I think they've been able to increase it by about 10% or thereabout. Minister, I'm sure you know the right figure. I thank you for what you people are doing to increase that. But I'm also urging you that instead of even saving 10%, reduce it to 5%, and let's have a target that we are going to save 5% in our build our foreign reserve by 5% to 2030. By 2030, that foreign reserve will be 57. 57 in foreign reserve and 55 in our national sovereign wealth account will amount to about 110 billion. The major problem we have today, we're talking about recession. The critical thing that is affecting our microeconomics instability today is because of our weak foreign reserve. Nothing again. If we have $100 billion today, we will be able to have a stable exchange rate. Businesses, especially SMEs, will plan properly because they have a stable rate. We will be able to rein in on inflation. We will be able to attract foreign portfolio and all the investors that we require. Because they will see investors move like bee. Where there's honey, they go. When there's nothing, they move out. So they will be able to come out. We will be able to generate the massive investment we need to invest in our infrastructure. And this is clear. Let me compare other countries to show you why this is desirable. We were not part of the BRIC countries because they could not see effort we were making. But today we are part of the Mint country. The Mint countries are Mexico, Indonesia, Nigeria, and Turkey. And I compare the countries with you so you can see where we are. Mexico, with a population of 130 million, has a GDP of 1.1 trillion, a foreign exchange reserve of over $150 billion, capital market capitalization of over $400 billion, a positive GDP, inflation and unemployment under 10%. Indonesia, with a population of about 200 million, has a GDP of 870 billion, reserve of over $100 billion, capital market capitalization of over $30 billion, positive GDP growth, inflation and unemployment under 10%. Turkey, with 80 million people, has a GDP of 780 million, about 100 billion in reserve, market capitalization of about 200 billion, positive GDP growth, inflation and unemployment under 10%. Then our own country, our very dear country, we are 170 million. Our GDP today is about 413, which is about half of the list. Our reserve is 30, which is 30% of the pack. Our capital market is about 30 billion, which is not even 20% of Turkey. Because everybody have left. We have, of course, last year we have agreed we are in recession. So there's no need to say we are in negative growth. GDP, our unemployment and inflation is hitting 20, which is double of everybody. When you compare this, the only thing that is missing in ours is that we didn't save yesterday. And we must save today. We must resolve to start that saving because that will make a difference in the future. That is all that I appeal for savings. Let nobody say there's time to save. Time to save is now. We started with this money they're about to share. Let them not share it again. We sold licenses for airport. All the licenses we sold, telephone and everything, nobody knew where the sharing went to. So let's stop sharing. For the future of our children, I appeal that we start saving. The other thing we want to mention is the issue of education. Nigeria needs to invest massively on education. Investment in education is synonymous with your future. If you're not investing in education, you're finished. We need to aggressively invest in education, especially today's knowledge economy. It is critical. Nigeria today occupies the unenviable position of this country with the largest out-of-school children in Africa and second in the entire world. Out of the 57 million children that are not in school, 10.7 million reside in Nigeria. The reason why Asian countries have leapfrogged Nigeria is because of their past investment and continued investment in education. When ours is reversed, is the case. We have about 60% on our education enrollment at the basic level. So we need to do something aggressively, especially now. The world have even moved where they are now talking about STEM education. It is education bordered on science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. When we haven't even started the other one, the one they left. We need to do something aggressively. By 2020, the world will have shortage of 85 million STEM skilled workers. And everybody is building for that challenge. And it is important that we get involved in it as quickly as possible. By turning around our basic education, we are a knowledge economy. It's a very simple thing. The reason why we're talking about oil today is that we have not invested. He talked about India being the biggest economy. What is it? India doesn't have oil. What they have is what? Knowledge. We are talking about knowledge economy. And to show you what knowledge economy can do, we're talking about Nigeria today being the biggest GDP in Africa. South Africa, second. Two of them put together is about 700 billion naira. The market capitalization of Apple is 750 billion. Bigger than two of them put together. Google, with a market cap on Friday of 600 billion, is 150 of our GDP. Microsoft, I used to 5 companies. Microsoft, with 515 market capitalization, is about 120-something% of our GDP. Amazon, with 430, is bigger than our GDP. Even Facebook, that started in 2004, with a market cap of 416, is bigger than GDP. Even Mark Zuckerberg's net worth of 65 million is 3 times our national budget this year. So we must invest in education, because that's where the future is going. We can no longer continue to do what we are doing now. It becomes imperative that we do the right things. Ours is not different. These things are not rocket science. This one is not oil. It's not anything. Let's invest in education. And how are we going to do it? Today we have, you can go on and on. Apple first quarter sales is 78 billion. That is twice the entire budget of all the states and federal government put together. Twice it. Apple first quarter sales. Thereby, we must invest in education. And how do we do it? We have today 12 million people in our basic education, which is the critical one. We're not talking about tertiary education. The critical component everybody is investing is the basic education. We have 12 million when there should have been 20-something million. And how do we get that? we can resolve to invest in that we are going to, by next 1 year or two, bring in 20 million back to school. I can show you, I did it before. You can bring them back. We will decide to budget properly 10,000 per head, 10,000 naira per head. That's what I used, and it's still visible today. If you have 20 million people, that would be 200 billion. And funding it is very easy. Federal government will take 50%, which is 100 billion. They're already spending about 60 billion in UBEC. State government will spend 50 billion, will bring 50 billion. A special education tax will give us the 50 billion. That's 200 billion. If we can raise this money, I will then further show you how you can use it so it becomes transformative instead of becoming transactional, which is the case today. What are we going to do? We send these monies direct to school at per head, not via state, not via local government, not via anybody. Direct to the school. If you know the school in my village, this money should be managed by the school, a school teacher. The parents should manage it, not ministry. It won't work. Because what they do now is that they tell you back, Peter Obi, who is from Agro, will be given a job in Oshobo, in our Ogun. I will never do it. I will take the money and run. So send the money to people in Agro to manage. We will manage because there are children there. That is what is happening in Kenya. That is what is happening in Rwanda. And that is why they are doing better than we are doing. We have enough money we are spending in education today, but it's not going to the right place because when the money leaves, the transit points and checkpoints that before it gets there, you will never get there. So we can do it. Talking about the children, we talked about the children, how to make it ICT compliant. It's a very easy thing. The component of NNPC money that they are refunding is about 300, the Naira component is about 316 billion. Instead of refunding it again and sharing it, I'm suggesting that if we have 20 million young people in our basic education, let's get all the computer companies in Nigeria, I did it before with them, and order from them 2 million computers. It won't cost us more than 100,000 naira, which is about 200 billion. Pay to them, they supply us at 10 per child. That's what we did while I was in Anambra State. I bought from Leo Stan, Xenox, you can tell you. I went to him, I said, I want to buy 10 computers. For every 10 child, I want to buy 1 computer in secondary school. That's where I did it. He calculated it was 30,000. And I paid him 2.4 billion upfront. And he delivered it. You can go, the rest of what is happening in education there, you can verify for yourself. The nation can do it. It's very easy. The money is there. Before the money goes to somewhere and transit to another place. And we are looking for it. My final contribution on this area is issue of employment. Government does not create jobs. Government only facilitates job creation by ensuring that they empower SMEs and local entrepreneurship. And I thank this present government for what they've done by saying, it's been said before, but I hope this time it will be different, that they are saying people who will buy made in Nigeria, who will buy what is made in Nigeria, and will produce what we buy, and they will patronize local companies. But what they've not done, and we wanted to take it further, is to also talk about payment. Today, government have killed more businesses than anything. 80% of companies that are collapsed in Nigeria were killed by government indebtedness. This is the only country where government, governor, local government chairman orders anything without any responsibility of paying for it. It doesn't happen anywhere. In the UK, public procurement is paid within 30 days. In Ghana, Rwanda is 60 days. I want to give examples of what is local here. Here, it doesn't bother anybody. I have a governor who has since left and is doing very well. He bought from a company 50 jeeps for his traditional rulers. He bought it at 99 million. The company was expecting to make 1.5 million. He took the vehicles, gave it to traditional rulers, and everybody wants to give it to. 4 years, as I'm speaking here, that company has not been paid. They borrowed 300 million to do that job from a bank. Today, they're at 25%. Today, they've lost their profit. They've lost their capital injection. They are debt of 732 million as a result of that transaction. They've sacked over 200 of their workers. And the governor has received all manner of title from the traditional rulers and has been given all sorts of award as a good performer and is looking for the next post. The country cannot continue that. You can actually pay. Today, people are celebrating innocence. The only thing why innocence was functional, I said it here in platform, and I'll repeat it again. When Innocent started his factory, he came to me. I said, Innocent, since you are in Anambra State, producing vehicles, and you're employing thousands of people from this state and surrounding, we will be your highest customer. Go and tell me whether you can produce a bus. Said yes. Pick up for police. Said yes. I said, how about G's for traditional rulers? He said yes. I said, since you can do them, Innocent, I'm going to give you an order. He's there, he will tell you. I gave him an order for 1,000 vehicles at 5 billion, and I paid him everything at least 180 days before delivery. I said, come, we'll give you money because we need you to be here. We paid everything up front. I told you before that when I was buying it, oh, the chiefs, everybody said they won't use it. They said the kids won't use it. They said nobody has tested it. But if it fail break, if you do, say, don't worry. We will not bother. No matter the number of people he killed, the ones who remain will remain in Anambra. But we're going to buy the vehicle. That's how we bought the vehicle. As I speak to you today, not one of those vehicles has had a problem. The treasurers are losing it. Everybody is losing it. We did the same thing I told you about Leo Stan. I went to him and said, you're a Nigerian company. We are going to buy this amount of computers from you. I can tell you what he told me. He said he doesn't deal with state government. I said, why? He said, payment is there. I said, Leo Stan, I will give you money before you supply. I don't even want you to give me anything. No bank guarantee. I pay you. If I look for you, I know where to find you. And I paid him, and he delivered. So was Innocent. Innocent didn't give me bank guarantee. I can go on and on. Now that you've said we'll do made in Nigeria, I agree. Can we go to the government houses and make sure that all the chair and the beds there are made in Nigeria? Because that's where we will start. Let them come here and buy. I was number one customer of palm while I was in government. Go and ask them in Kaduna. I was not their number one customer because I insist you must buy made in Nigeria. So I agree with all those things, but let us also pay them. I made a policy when I was in government that nobody should be owed more than 60 days while I was there. Go and ask, and I said to the platform here again, if any contractor, supplier, anybody who said that the day I left office, it was being owed for a matured certificate or payment that is due, come here, I will resign from politics. Never. Because it's people's money. You must support them. It is important, it's critical. We've lost yesterday as a country. And by yesterday, I mean from 1960 to the year 2000. Why did I say 1960? Why did I say that? Because that was wasted. Not that nothing happened. Something happened, but we lost it. In year 2000, Nigeria became a signatory. So I call it today to what they call UN MDG goals. All of you are aware of it. UN MDG goals have 8 critical areas. Nigeria became a signatory in the same year to Water is for Life. You people don't know, Nigeria is a signatory which says that if they don't provide you water, you can sue Nigeria. But that is, don't sue them, please. Because they will have not. But so they sign all those things. They sign all those things abroad and come home here. And then throw away the papers in which they sign it. So for MDG elapsed in 2015. Nigeria as a country, though they made impact, they tried, some of the states tried, did not achieve any of the goals. In 2015, Nigeria became a signatory among the 193 countries that signed for Sustainable Development Goals that will end in 2030. So you know why I'm talking about 2030. My appeal and demand of Nigerians today is, haven't lost yesterday and today. Can we resolve that as a country, that universal global destination everybody is going, other countries are following, that includes everything you need for development, is there. You can go and read it, 17 points, includes everything. Can we resolve as a country and request the drivers of this nation to drive us along that destination? We don't want anything. All we want is to know we are going with everybody to this because it's very clear, it's measurable. Let our planning, our budgeting, execution, and delivery be along the path of this journey to 2030. So that having lost yesterday and today, let us make a resolution that we cannot lose tomorrow for the sake of our children. God bless you all.
Thank you so much, sir. You may be seated if you can.